Well, it's
have no
7,
idea.
so I'm starting. Yeah. Are we all set? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Narragansett School Committee. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. It's very excited to see so many people in the audience on a very special evening. So we did not have executive session tonight, so there are no minutes to seal, and we did not have executive session, so there were no votes taken. I am very excited, a big tradition with our June school committee meeting, that our showcase is honoring our Narragansett school system retirees. So I'm happy to introduce Dr. Cummings to do the introductions.
Thank you, Tammy. So this is always a bittersweet moment because we are honoring the wonderful work and careers of so many professionals that have given so much to our children and to our district and to our staff and to one another. And, you know, this year, personally, there's many people that I know really well and have been working with for a long time that are leaving us that are really going to leave a big hole. So we want to honor their service, recognize, you know, all they've done for our district, thank them really for committing so much of their lives to our district, and really honor all the work that we've done. You know, when you really look at the various roles and responsibilities of the people that are leaving, you know, it's over 150 years of service to Narragansett that is kind of retiring this year. And so I personally just want to say thank you to all of them for everything that they've done. And I'm going to have each one of our principals come up and just say a couple of words about our retirees. So we'll start with Lisa Wilson and the elementary school.
Thank you. So we had 4 retirees this year. 3 of them retired in January and 1 fairly recently. So because Mary Patty's here, I'm going to start with Miss Mary Patty. And it's okay for her to come up? Come on up, Mary Patty. So Mary Patty was with NES for 12 years, and she retired in January. She came to us in her 2nd career. She added a lot of humor and happiness to our speech language program. She worked tirelessly with tricky R's and made going to speech class, I knew I'd make her laugh, going to speech class fun. The kids loved going with Mary Patty. We have missed her, but are happy for her and her family. She has more time to spend with her husband, family, friends, and her best dog friend's family. She was just telling me she took up a new hobby of stained glass, so super happy to honor her. She really was a wonderful addition to our NES family, and she is already very missed, but we're happy for her. So, Mary Patty. Here's a little token of our appreciation.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right, you're very welcome.
Official proof.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another person that retired in January was a staple at NES, is one of our front secretaries, Nancy Kenyon. Nancy was a master at convincing people to sub for sick teachers at the last minute. Nancy knew every parent's car, phone number, and connection to the community. She has an uncanny memory. She also has provided the staff with countless treats as they pass through the office, notorious for a little candy bowl to get us through the day. Nancy, though retired, has continued to provide us with some office support. We never really let her retire. Don't tell anyone. And she continues to bake, cook, and provide any restaurant, bake and cook for us. And she works at Captain Jack's. And if you're wanting to see her there, she is still the most amazing waitress. So we will miss Nancy. We also had Al Cesario, who tried to sneak away quietly in January. He was one of our custodians for many years. We did not let him do that. We celebrated him with a kid parade and a big send-off showing our appreciation for all the work he's done at the NES, helping it sparkle. Al was best known for making sure all the scuff marks were off the floor. They drove him crazy. And we were happy that he gets to spend more time with his family and maybe get lucky at the casino, which was one of his hobbies. And last but not least, CJ Tadino, another tried and true member of our family, worked for over 20 years at NES. She started as a PTO mom when her son started kindergarten and worked up the ranks from PTO mom to basically running the PTO for all 3 schools. She spent countless hours fundraising and working with families. She was a teacher assistant at our school for many, many years and finally became one of the lead secretaries at our school. She was always there for humor, laughter, and encouraging kids and staff to have a great day and not smile as a joke. Anyway, she'll be spending a lot of time with her family and friends at Narragansett Beach and embarking on a new career in real estate. So you may see her out and about in the community as well, and she'll be greatly missed as well. So those are our people, and we'll miss them all. So thank you for your time and acknowledging them.
Next, I'd like to ask Colleen Johnson to come up and speak about our retirees from the Pierce School.
Hello, this is a really exciting night, as we stated. I have the true privilege of recognizing 2 amazing Narragansett retirees this evening. One who is here, so I'm going to call her up first, Miss Becky Marcello. So Becky has been an essential piece of the Narragansett family for over 11 years. She's worn many hats in the school. We've had many discussions about that. Before taking the position with our school, she worked at Bell Atlantic Mobile, and she worked at Monsignor Clark School and owned and operated a village consignment in Exeter. Always fun to kind of hear a little bit more about, life before Narragansett Pierce School. As she entered Narragansett School, she entered truly with dedication and warmth, and in her last year and a half, she became a familiar face in our main office as our main office secretary. So her colleagues, as I've kind of spoken around the school, has unanimously described her as hardworking, sometimes too hardworking, conscientious, a teammate, a friend. Her commitment to the well-being of Narragansett schools and our students has really been front and center in everything that she does for us. Personally, she was a guiding light for me as I started and embarked my journey at the Pierce School. She really was a helping hand for me, even though it was her first year in the main office. She had been at the school, so she was a really good support to me as well. So personally, I like to thank her for that. Her presence at the Pierce School has been a gift to the community, truly. And as she begins its new chapter, I hope she's able to enjoy every minute with family, reading a new book, being at the beach, doing whatever it is that makes your heart happy. So Becky, you've earned it. You've earned this relaxation, and congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, and next up is Miss Holly Mills, who is unfortunately unable to be here tonight, but even though she's not here, I'd like to take this time to say a few words. Holly Mills has also worn a lot of hats in our district for over 20 years of service for Narragansett School Department. She made a lasting impact on all of us in the building as well as the school community with students that actually went through the school system. She's always been a true advocate for our students. I can't say enough about that. Always going above and beyond to make sure that they were supported and that they were heard no matter the circumstances. Beyond her role as that mentor, she had a knack for turning chaos into order. She loved to tidy up spaces. I've seen it in action. She took the kitchen in the main office of the Pierce School, and she turned it into a beautiful, almost piece of art. She was able to organize it, and that was, she has a true knack for that, and some people just truly do, and she was one of them. Along with the impressive work she's done with our students. You know, I hope she really enjoys her retirement and embarking on this new journey, and I hope she has fun with her family and relaxation as well. So I'd like to recognize Holly Mills. And those are my two from the Pierce School. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Colleen. And next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Fiore, our high school principal, to speak about our high school retirees.
Good evening. I have the pleasure tonight of recognizing two individuals from the high school. I'll start with Steve Pinch, school counselor. It was the winter of 2000 when Steve started in Narragansett as a technology education teacher. So I started to try to look at how much he meant to Narragansett High School over that time. And when people hear 2000, they don't seem to, oh, okay, it's 2000, right? But just to give you a little idea of the breadth of his career. So on TV, people were enthralled with Survivor, Friends, and Everybody Loves Raymond. Gas was $1.51 a gallon. Milk was $2.78 a gallon. And a dozen eggs, 91 cents. The average salary for a first-year Rhode Island teacher was $27,000, and the average home in Rhode Island was $133,000. So, Steve, you've made the most of your time here in Narragansett.
You're really old.
In 2006, Steve started splitting time between being a school counselor and a teacher. And in April of 2006, along with two other NHS counselors, he published an article in the ASCA School Counselor National Magazine on building the school-to-work connection. In 2008, he moved to a full-time counselor position, and by 2012, he was already department chairperson. Over the next 12 years in the counseling department, he was able to make many changes that better prepared students for the dreams they wanted to pursue. My time with Steve has afforded me the opportunity to collaborate with a staunch student advocate. He focused on helping students regardless of their issues. He's a problem solver, he leads with his heart, and he puts students first in every step of the way. Every time I went to see Steve, he was rarely in his office because he was mostly out and about working with students, being a liaison for students, and advocating for them. And he was leading the other people in his department, along with teachers. He was a liaison for the staff as well. And I really couldn't ask for someone better in his position. My first year, he helped me tremendously. He probably saw my name come up a lot of times on his phone and thought about running the other way, but he answered every single time. So Steve looks forward to spending more time with his family and traveling, and he's also going to continue working part-time as fire chief in South Kingstown. So congratulations, Steve, and good luck.
Thanks so much.
Kristen Hayes-Leet unfortunately could not be here tonight, but I did just want to say a quick word about Kristen, who is a decorated educator for the Narragansett school community. And I think it could best be summed up in a 4-year stretch. She was Employee of the Year in the Narragansett School District. Next year, Narragansett District Teacher of the Year. The next year, Rhode Island State Teacher of the Year. And the next year, the Rhode Island Genocide Educator of the Year. So she certainly brought a lot to the table. She had a very strong following. She was instrumental in the Educator Prep CTE program that we have and is leaving us in very good hands in that regard, and she will be sorely missed. So congratulations to Kristen. Thank you.
I just wanted to say a few thank yous. It's always bittersweet at this meeting when we honor our retirees, and it's really wonderful for us to hear a little bit of the backstory and your journey to Narragansett. But on behalf of the school committee, we just really want to sincerely thank all of you for your decades of service to the school district. It will be a loss, and I know the principals will agree in September your school will not feel the same You are going to be missing, admin secretaries and directors of guidance and teachers of the year and teacher assistants and custodians. Everyone has such an important part, and people have gave their time and their heart and their commitment to Narragansett, and you will be missed. We do appreciate you taking the time to come tonight. That means a lot to us. But more importantly, thank you so much to all the retirees who could be here or couldn't be here. We really appreciate your service and your dedication to Narragansett, and you will definitely be missed in September. So a big thank you to all of our retirees and a big congratulations as well. So Dr. Cummings, I would like to take a brief recess. The retirees are welcome to stay for our whole meeting, but in case you would like to go and enjoy your families, I'd like to take a brief recess. Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to resume our meeting, and we are going to resume with open forum. And just a reminder of our school committee bylaws. We are having an open forum of no more than 30 minutes. 3 minutes per speaker will be offered at the beginning of each month's regularly scheduled meeting. School committee will permit people to ask questions or make comments related to items both not on the agenda and items on the agenda. And it's understood that the school committee members will just hear from the public during open forum and will be unable to respond in any collective voice to comments. So at this time, if anyone would like to speak for open forum, please raise your hand. Okay. Last call for open forum. Come on up, come and say your name and state your address, please.
Good evening. My name is Robert Caradillo. I'm from Westerly, Rhode Island. I'm here this evening as part of my statewide mission to speak to all 36 Rhode Island school committees to inform you, as well as the people of Narragansett, that no district is obligated to comply with RIDE's deceptive and untruthful transgender guidance. RIDE's guidance is not law. There is no legal obligation to comply, but this committee does not tell the truth to its families and drives policy towards an agenda which is designed to discriminate against 99% of the students in this district. Under this guidance, boys identifying as girls are allowed to utilize the same bathrooms and locker rooms as girls, compete against girls athletically, to room with girls on overnight field trips. Teachers are compelled to utilize pronouns as per the student's sexual identity, and there is no mandate that the school inform parents should their child decide to socially transition while at school. Just this week, the American College of Pediatricians issued a statement calling on all other major medical associations to, and I quote, immediately end promotion of social affirmation, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries for children and adolescents who experience distress over their biological sex, end quote. If you don't believe me, you can see the full statement at acpeds.org. Numerous other countries have already stopped these barbaric practices. Your Title IX policy is also inaccurate and parrots the current administration's hijacking of this law. Title IX, which was adopted in 1972, as some of you may know, was written to protect women against discrimination based on sex. There weren't guys getting discriminated based on sex in 1972. It was written for women. It was not written for men who identify as women. Nowhere in Title IX is gender or sexual identification mentioned. Neither of these policies prevent discrimination on the basis of sex. Rather, they mandate it. They put our young people, especially our girls, in uncomfortable and unsafe situations. But I'm not sure that you care. I hope the people of Narragansett do. The Westerly School Committee's proposed revisions to RIDE's guidance will keep boys out of girls' bathrooms and locker rooms and everything that I mentioned earlier. The school committee will be sued either way, by RIDE, by the ACLU, the U.S. Department of Education, or parents from Narragansett. It is your choice. To be clear, no matter how much a boy wants to be a girl,
Thank you very much.
dress like a
Your
girl,
time is up.
think he's a girl,
Okay.
he will never be a girl.
Thank you so much. Your time is up. Is there anybody else
We
that
will
would like
hold
to
you
speak?
accountable, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Back row, yellow shirt, come to the front, say your name and your address, please.
Good evening. My name is Bretta Combs. My address is 5 Crane Terrace. I am a Narragansett resident. I have had 2 children who have gone through the school system. Before I start, though, I would like to congratulate the retirees. I've always said that Narragansett does an amazing job finding the best staff. So I am an educator in practice. I'm also a board-certified behavior analyst. I've worked in public education for over 16 years. I wanted to just come tonight and share with you my support for the district and their role in protecting the rights of students, staff, families, and the community at large. Title IX is a federal education law that does protect students' discrimination based on sex. While Title IX does not specify the use of the terms transgender or gender identity or expression, courts around the country agree that harassment and discrimination against transgender and gender nonconforming people constitutes illegal discrimination. In 2017, the Department of Education rolled back that guidance document, clarifying that Title IX protects transgenders from discrimination. And as I know you know, courts have continued to affirm that anti-transgender discrimination is banned. And Title IX, there have been numerous courts that have also held that transgender students are protected from discrimination under the Equal Protection Clause of the U.S. Constitution. State and federal laws and the U.S. Constitution prohibit discrimination of bullying, harassment against students that are transgender. This includes Title IX, the federal law that bans sex discrimination in schools. It is illegal. I know you know this. Most courts that have looked at this issue have said that this includes discrimination against someone because they are transgender or because they don't meet gender-related stereotypes or expectations. Several other federal and state laws also protect transgender students. So what this means for our students, our community, and across the country is that students have the right to be treated according to their gender identity. They have the right to be called by name, the pronouns that match their gender identity. They have the right not to be bullied or harassed because they are transgender or gender nonconforming. They have the right to use restrooms, locker rooms that match their gender identity. They have the right, the same opportunity to learn and participate in school as anyone else, no matter gender, including their expression, race, nationality, or disability. They have the right to dress or present themselves accordingly. They have the right to privacy protection and to choose who they tell and who they don't tell. I have looked at the policy that Narragansett has written. It was adopted in November of 2017. The policy includes all aspects that I've just mentioned. It is well written, and as I see it, it requires no revision. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Front row, come on up, please. State your name and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Isabel. I'm from East Greenwich. I'm just going to take a deep breath. Thank you. Thank you. I am not here just in support of RIDE's Guidance for Rhode Island Schools on Transgender and Gender Nonconforming Students initiative, but more importantly, trans students not just in Narragansett and across Rhode Island. It should not have to be said, but trans kids are worthy of protection, and it is crucial that they receive it, especially in the face of such hatred that we just saw exhibited. It is important that schools provide a safe haven for trans students, many who sadly cannot find that safety and acceptance at home, which is tragic, but it is a reality. Trans people and their presence are vital to all communities, and we cannot take for granted the light, beauty, and insight that they bring to them. My support for the trans community will never waver, especially as someone with trans friends and trans family, those who have brought so much joy into my life. It is our responsibility to keep trans kids safe and create environments in which they are welcome and at home, not ones where they feel alienated. I hope everyone here can open their hearts to the trans community and those who may be spouting hatred. Take a moment or consider educating themselves, because there's a lot of literature out there, there's a lot of work out there. Oh no, I'm gonna look back. I truly hope that everyone in this room can experience the joy and the beauty that trans people can bring into your life, because it is incredible. They are fantastic people. They are people. They are not monsters as you make them out to be. Sit with that.
To the committee, young lady. To the committee.
I'm speaking to you. I need you to hear this. Please open your hearts. Please open your heart. I am being respectful.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Back row, sure, come on up. Please state your name and your address.
Hey, thanks for letting me speak. Sean Hackberg, beautiful Cranston, Rhode Island. Last 15 years or so as a neuroscientist. Last 5 of those getting to study the biological basis of empathy, which was pretty cool, and somebody paid me to learn this stuff, so that's always fun. But I'm also apparently the first cultural anthropology undergrad from Rick to get a PhD in cultural anthropology. And in that vein, I study power relations, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit. But I will make the point that empathy and power are often inversely related, right? A lot of power, little empathy, a lot of empathy, little power. And as an anthropologist, I'm very interested in verbs, not nouns, and the anthropologists are trained like me, and because I study power, the verb that I follow is oppress. And I think when I say something like that, in your minds, no matter what side of any debate you're on, you can put nouns into who's being oppressed. And I'll give an example, because we use history too, because history, it may not repeat itself, but it rhymes, as they say. In 1942, 43, we were preparing for D-Day, and a lot of American troops go to England, especially Wales, and they train. And interestingly, they sent some black companies there, because remember, the U.S. Army was Jim Crow segregated, just like the South at that time. And when these soldiers showed up, the white soldiers were livid that the Welsh couldn't understand just by looking at a black soldier that they were lesser or unimportant or should be treated badly. So much so that at some point, in some of the villages, they just banned white soldiers altogether. And what went on there is essentially something that we see today is, it can say most of us, that race was a construct, a social construct that was based in some bit of biology. But all the things attached to that weren't based in biology. They were a social construct. Right now, gender is in the same place. It's based on some kind of biological fact or peculiarity or basis. But all the things that are constructed around that don't translate. You can't go to other cultures and have people say, oh, that's a problem, because they don't, because they see things differently. And so all I'd like to ask folks to do, and everybody can do this, is pay attention to the verbs, not all the nouns. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Back corner over there. Come to the podium, say your name and your address, please.
Good evening, Amy Rodriguez. So I just want to echo what Mr. Caradillo had already said. We did not come here to say anything that would be hateful. We're here in the interest of all children and faculty members. Under the new guidelines and also what this committee and district has already adopted in 2017 does imply compelled speech that a teacher, and now under the Biden's guidelines, a student would also have to call somebody by their preferred pronouns. This is compelled speech. It's a violation of the First Amendment right. The Biden administration is being sued over this. I could also direct you to Texas, where they just went against the Biden Title IX rules. So we're talking about keeping all children safe. Athletes, girls should be safe in their own locker rooms, their own spaces. My daughter actually got her finger broke at the beginning of last winter playing against boys in a house league. Boys are stronger, men are stronger, they have an ability over girls. Girls should have their own place in the bathrooms to be safe. This is a vulnerable position. And to allow somebody who is not a biological female into a girl's place where she is in a vulnerable position is just dangerous. And we don't want something bad to happen to our girls. We shouldn't sacrifice safety over inclusivity. And that's all that we're saying. This is not against somebody who might have dysphoria. This is not against trans people. This is not against anybody. It is for the safety of our children, namely our girls. And that is all. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Back row corner, please. Come on up and say your name and your address, please.
Hi, I'm Vicki Crowningshield. My address is 40 Birchwood Drive, Narragansett. So, ladies and gentlemen of Narragansett School Committee, I'm just here today to support our current policy on transgender and gender non-conforming students. So this policy, I feel like, is essential for creating an educational environment where every student feels safe, valued, and respected. I wanted to also just quickly clarify this distinction between gender identity and sexual identity. So gender identity is an individual's internal understanding of their gender, which may be male, female, blend of both, or neither. Sexual identity, on the other hand, relates to whom an individual is attracted to. So these are distinct aspects of a person's identity and should not be conflated. This policy is not about whom the student is attracted to, but whether about allowing them to use the bathroom that aligns with their gender identity. So refusing to acknowledge the identities of transgender individuals is profoundly harmful. Transgender people like us seek to live authentic lives and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Many professional organizations, including the American Psychological Association, recognize that being transgender is a natural variation of human experience and not a mental disorder. Accommodating transgender and gender nonconforming students does not discriminate against others. Rather, it seeks to protect students who are at risk of discrimination. By ensuring safe and supportive environments for these students, we foster a culture of empathy and respect that benefits everyone. As a parent with children attending school in the district, I want my children to learn from an environment where empathy and understanding are fundamental values. I want them to learn and see the humanity in others, to be compassionate, and to stand up against injustice. By keeping the current policy, we are teaching our children these critical values. We're showing them that everyone deserves respect and acceptance regardless of their differences. So in conclusion, I urge you to continue with the current policy on transgender and gender nonconforming students. I want us to continue to foster an educational environment that champions empathy, understanding, and respect. By doing so, we're not only protecting an at-risk group, but also enriching the moral and ethical foundation of our community. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for open forum? Yes, come on up, please.
Good evening.
Just have to say your name and your address.
Thomas Hines, 14 Piping Clover Drive, Narragansett. Let me just offer a few perspectives on what I perceive as the nature of the policy here in this district. I don't have a child in the district. I came here as a retiree. I have a great deal of admiration for the district around here and how it's been educating students from my perspective as an interloper, so to speak. I sat as a board member on a school board in a high-performance district in upstate New York. Its power came from its policies of inclusion, which is predominantly a powerful thing that I see in what this board is trying to do and this district is trying to do. Later on in life, I served as an affirmative action officer for one of the university centers for the State University of New York. We did outreach, we did adaptations, but we also did a lot of programs protecting the other, the folks who were different, who were entitled to rights like everybody else. And the community of a school, it has a variety of people in it, and they all deserve protection, and I see that in the policy that you are promoting here. Later on in life after that, I spent 20 years as a labor arbitrator. When I was a labor arbitrator, I handled about 400 and some odd plus cases. A lot of them were disciplinary. Substantial number of them had to do with workplace violence and bullying. And I think it's very important to understand, as you all do as educators, that these are learned behaviors, and we want our children to learn behaviors other than those that will manifest themselves as an adult, as a bigot and a bully. And I think that what you're trying to do here in Narragansett will accomplish that. I will lastly speak to my presence in this town as a community. It's adopted by me. Sure, I came for the beach, but let me tell you, I came because I found this little town to be so sweet. And I think that what you're trying to do here in this school district is very consistent with the value systems of this town of Narragansett, as I understand it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Come on up, please, and state your name and your address.
How's it going? Jesse Pugh, 40 Birchwood Drive, Narragansett. First, I just want to thank the committee, just generally speaking, for all the work that you do in a volunteer position, especially when you have activists that come to meetings with an agenda. Sometimes it's a culture war agenda, sometimes it's political, but those are things that happen, and I think that you all deal with it really well. This is an interesting one because when I heard that the fellow from Westerly was going to come and speak tonight, I started Googling to see what exactly he was going to speak on. And I figured that it was related to a new set of guidelines from RIDE, or a new policy that the school committee was putting in place. And I couldn't find anything. I kept looking and I said, well, what is the new policy that that is maybe scaring certain people, or that is getting publicly vetted? And then I realized it's not new. This is a policy from RIDE that's 8 years old. And then we have a policy at our level that's 7 years old. So I think everyone spoke really well tonight. I'm not going to get into the details of the law, different laws, or the differences when it comes to details of gender and sexuality or any of that. For me, I see it's very straightforward. We have something that has been in place for 7 years. Kids in school, middle school and elementary school, and there has never been an issue that I've heard about. There's never been a high-profile issue. There hasn't been issues through the grapevine that you've heard about. We have a policy that has worked, which is really the bottom line. So when you come to a meeting and you start talking about problems with the policy, potential legal issues, what could or couldn't happen, all the things that are bad about it, the reality is that there isn't an issue. But your goal is to stir up trouble. And when it comes down to it, there isn't any trouble here to be stirred up. So it's disappointing to see kind of the culture war come to town tonight. But it's great to see everyone in support of what you guys are doing, what you have done, and the inclusive and safe environment that you've built for our kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for open forum? Okay, at this time, I'm going to close open forum. Pete, we're going to take a 1-minute recess, so I'm going to set my timer just so we can make sure we're back on track in less than 3 minutes here.
Yeah.
Are we all set to resume? Okay. All right, welcome back. At this time, we're going to resume our meeting with a very, again, bittersweet, but I'm going to say pretty exciting and pretty special moment. So we have the last official meeting of our student liaison, Maya. And Alex, I'm going to guess you probably have something to say? If not, I do. Do you have something to say?
Well, just a
I'm
little
gonna let you
something,
go first.
and then
Okay.
I'll
What a
pass
surprise,
it. I'll just
right?
I'll just pass
All
it
right,
down.
Alex, you're first.
Just to send praise and pass it back to you as well, in case you want to say something as well. But last term, the Narragansett School Committee voted unanimously to add the position of student representative to the school committee. And this year, Maya was our inaugural student selected for this position. Maya, you have elevated the voice of your peers and provided the school committee with valuable feedback in your reports that has gone on to influence on how we made many of our decisions and crafted policy. It is so important to hear directly from our students and to continue to encourage that civic engagement. We are grateful for the very high bar that you've set for everyone who's going to follow in your stead. Thank you for participating in our discussions and for not being afraid to ask questions, because I know we're a very intimidating elected body here. We will miss your reporting and seeing you at our meetings. Congratulations on your graduation, and thank you for your service to your peers, the school committee, and your town. I wish you the best of luck next year on your next endeavor.
Did we want to, Justin, Diane, Jen, I'm going to go last. Did you want to say anything individually for Maya?
Maya, just thank you for being here with us. I just want to echo that you did provide great insight and was good representation of your fellow students. Thank you.
Diane?
And I just want to say that each month we get a packet in advance of materials. And I found myself looking forward most of all to reading your report. And I thought each one was excellent, and I thought the issues that you brought up were very important for us to know about, and appreciate you doing that, and we wish you the very best in college.
I just want to say sometimes it's really hard to be the first person to do something. And being a middle school teacher, I see that a lot when kids go from middle school to high school. They start to find themselves and they become passionate about something. And I think you absolutely hit it out of the park for Narragansett and student advocacy. And I think that's just an amazing thing, not only for Narragansett, but also for Rhode Island. And I hope other school committees do the same thing. Thank you so much for being the voice for them, but also thank you for being a voice for the community, because you see it from a different light, and that's really where we need to see it from. So thank you.
And I really like what you said, Jen. It is really hard to be the first person because you don't have a reference point. So it's really cool. We've been talking about this for 12, 14, 16 years. We should have a student liaison. And it was pretty hard to get selected, and you did a great job. And really thank you for your time, because senior year is such a very time-intensive, stressful year. You're extremely active and busy, so we really appreciate your time, and you did a great job. And you should be really proud of yourself, and we're grateful for your service and your time. So Pete, did you want to say anything? And then I want to see if Maya wants to say anything. Pete, did you have any final words before Maya speaks?
I just want to thank Maya for her representing our students so thoughtfully and well, for her partnership with Mr. Fiore to identify issues that were of concern to students and to think about how to frame her reports in a way that were both informative and actionable. And I'm wishing you all the best. We're really proud of you.
Maya, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I just want to say thank you. I'm going to get emotional. It's just been such a great past 12 years here. I just want to thank you all for being so welcoming, and it was just such a fun experience. And Narragansett is just the best place. I can't imagine anywhere else growing up.
That's wonderful. So big applause for Maya. We have a little something we're going to present you, and then if you're okay, I know Lauren we'd like really one more picture, but we have a little something for you. So if you want to open this first. You're welcome. Thank you. Would you be willing to do one more? You want to
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to resume our meeting, and we are up to school committee reports. Alex, would you like to go first?
Sure, you know
Okay.
me well.
Great.
I'll keep this brief. On May 20th, the Health and Wellness Committee met for their final meeting of the year. We reviewed the great work that was done by all 3 schools that address the importance of balanced nutrition, mental health, and physical activity. While we recognize the wonderful work and accomplishments that all 3 of our schools have done, and there was a lot this year, we understand that there is always more that we can do. Thank you to everyone who participated in these important discussions this year. If any community members, parents, teachers, or students want to join the Health and Wellness Committee, please reach out to one of your school committee members or Dr. Cummings directly. And lastly, on May 30th, the second part of the Portrait of the Graduate discussion was held at the Narragansett High School Library. Participants reviewed the competencies that were developed from the first session and jotted down evidence on how each competency could be achieved before graduating. We formed groups, consolidated, and expanded on these descriptors. Thank you especially to Pete, Emily, Chris, Connor, and everyone who came out to participate in this important discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Diane, did you have something to add? Or something to say? Report? Yeah.
Just a brief report that Alex and I spent Friday, May 17th, judging the senior projects at the high school. And I just wanted to say a word about how much the process that the judges go through has improved over the years, every year. And I imagine Mr. O'Brien and his committee are responsible for making it better every year in terms of being smooth and having judges do their jobs well. And as well as the students, again, this year, and I know I say this every year, but it seems like the projects, the presentations, the research papers get better every year. This year, of the 4 I judged, I thought there was a great deal of creativity that had been involved in their projects, which made it very interesting for the judges to hear about. But all the projects were really well done, and it's just nice to see it steadily improving. So,
Thank you, Diane. Anyone else? Jen?
I just want to just talk about beach blanket bidding just for a second. Alex and I were able to go to that fundraising event. It was the first time I had been to beach blanket bidding. A huge shout out to Liz Turco and the Narragansett Schools PTO, but specifically Liz. It was a fabulous night. The feel in the room was of just so many families and community members there supporting each other and the kids. It was wonderful to watch Alex get really competitive in his bidding wars. But just in general, I think, this is one thing that I think makes Narragansett stand apart from other districts, and I'm just going to say it like that. We are a small community, but we have huge, huge hearts. And no matter whether it's with fundraising or whatever, from what I saw at Beach Blanket Bidding, I mean, we do it. We do it up. $2,500 for somebody to be, I think, principal for the day at the elementary school. But this is what is going to help our kids to succeed. So we keep that focus no matter what policy comes in front of our way, and I'm sure our kids will be okay. So anyway, just a huge shout out for that. I don't know how much money was raised, but I'm sure it was a successful event.
They haven't shared the final amount yet, but I think it was successful.
All righty, we are up to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cummings?
Well, thankfully, you all hit on most of my highlights, so that's great, and it's such a busy time of year. So I'm grateful for the support of the community, for all of our teachers and staff members, for our school administration, for all that they do to make the end of the year meaningful for our students. We have our great moving up ceremonies coming up next week at the elementary school and at the middle school, and we just had a really lovely graduation. And so I do want to take a couple of minutes and congratulate some of our graduates, and I'm actually going to take some of what Mr. Fiore mentioned in his speech, and I just want to share it to members of the public that were not able to come to graduation, because I think it's really important for people to recognize what our students accomplished by the time they leave Narragansett and earn their diploma. So first of all, I do want to recognize and congratulate Adam Simone as valedictorian and Julianne Harris as salutatorian. And, again, wonderful students who've worked so hard, been involved in so many activities outside of their coursework. And they both represented the school and their classmates well, and they're really thoughtful and engaging ceremony speeches at graduation. And at graduation, here's some of the facts that Mr. Fiore mentioned that I think are really critical. First of all, this class took over 277 AP exams. That's over 87 students. 65% of the class took one or more AP classes. So if you think as a committee where we were 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, it wasn't even close to that number. And so that is a significant accomplishment for the community, for the high school, and for the committee over time. That has been one of your goals, is to have more students gain access to college level classes, and that goal is moving forward. And again, 12 of those students through junior year were named AP Scholars, and we do expect more of them to be named AP Scholars going forward. And there's lots of other highlights. 2 students ranked in the top 3 in the state in plumbing. 1 student was awarded a Skills USA gold medal in robotics. Another was the Rhode Island winner of the National Center for Women in Information Technology Award for Aspirations in Computing. We had a national gold recipient at the FFA for dairy handling, which is really difficult. We had another student be a winner in floriculture. We had 12 students achieve the seal of biliteracy, including a gold and 3 silver. There were 34 National Honor Society members, 22 all-academic student athletes. When you think more about our athletics, we had 7 all-state athletes, 24 all-division, 10 all-class, and 3 all-league, just from this one class. When you think about our choir, we had seniors recognized for all-state choir, for all-state band. We had a Southern New England Honors Band inductee. And just think about where our students are going next year. So we had students accepted in some of the finest universities and colleges across the country, including Yale, Tufts, UConn, URI, Pitt, Penn State, Clemson, UMass, Boston University, Virginia Tech, San Diego State, and dozens of other schools. And so, our high school is producing scholars and young men and women of character that are really going out into the world and doing great things. And so we're really proud of this class. We're really proud of everyone that contributed to making this class who they are, for providing opportunities. We're grateful for the families for being a part of Narragansett. And I just want to congratulate them on just a wonderful span of time while they were here in Narragansett. And thank you to Mr. Fiore for putting all that together.
Excellent. Love that. Any questions or comments from the school committee for Pete? All right, thank you. All right, we're moving along to consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve consent agenda items CA1B, CA1C, CA2A, CA2B, and CA2C?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the budget report. Karen?
Good evening. Expenditures for the 11 months ended May 31st total $28,309,907, and that's 70.08% of our budget. Expenditures and encumbrances total $32,916,735, and that's 90.79% of our budget. And one more month to go.
Any questions for Karen? All right, thank you. So on to school committee business, item number 1. We have a revision we need to make in our budget now that the town has passed their budget. So is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance and administration to approve the revised and final FY 2025 school budget in the amount of $36,883,828?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
The reason that you're voting on the budget again is that the town funded us at $100,000 less than our initial request. That coincided with us receiving an updated insurance estimate where we can accommodate that cut without significantly changing our overall budget. So we're having you re-vote on this, which is $100,000 less than what you originally were, almost to the penny, $100,000 less, which was the town council reduction. And again, we can accommodate that without kind of losing positions or doing those pieces, because our initial insurance estimate overall that we put in is based on some November numbers, and we work with West Bay, which is our collaborative, to try to get that down and reduce as much as possible. And so by shifting a couple of things, that was approximately where we came in less than the initial estimate. Part 2 is that we did have a slight reduction in our state aid. We had originally estimated it being around 50-something thousand, and the final reduction from the state budget was only around 40,000. All right, so we had a little gain in that way.
And just a comment, I am appreciative and grateful for the town council. It was very close to supporting our full appropriation. That was very reasonable, and so I am appreciative of that. I think this is a very manageable reduction that we can deal with, and I'm very comfortable supporting the revised budget. Are there any other questions or comments to Pete before we take a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And the last item, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance and administration to approve the purchase of Incident IQ in the amount of $15,300?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good evening. This is actually a purchase in collaboration with the technology department and the maintenance department. Steve currently uses School Dude for tracking all of his maintenance requests, requests that teachers put in, but School Dude's also lacking some features that he would like, such as event planning and some kind of maintaining, so he can put in like his air filter units, label them in, and it will like remind him filters need to be changed on this month. So it's kind of an upgrade from what School Dude is giving them right now. And we currently in the technology department, because this product will also manage our assets, so all of our laptops, any vacuums, like to whatever degree Steve wants to go with. We use Manage One-to-One to manage our assets, but Incident IQ also has that capability. So we sat in webinars, sat on demos, and we think it's a good time for us to collaborate and consolidate. So instead of having two separate platforms, we're consolidating into one, and it will also help our collaboration. When he has events that are being planned, he can just within the system say, I need this technology set up for this. It will come directly to me, and we can work on the workflow through that. So it's really a consolidation of two different products, and it's a better product.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any communications anyone wants to mention before we close? All right, so just please note the date. In July, we are having a school committee workshop. It is a Thursday, so that is not a typo. Thursday, July 18th. And is the committee okay? We had talked about this a while ago with the earlier start time by 1 hour. So in the summer, on a Thursday, July 18th, can everybody get here for 6 o'clock? Is that going to be okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. With that, I would say go Celtics. And is there a motion to adjourn at 8:05?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.